So, Shavua Tov, guys. This week's parasha is Toldot, speaking about the heritage of Avraham Avinu, how it's passed down to Yitzchak. Although Avraham had Yitzchak and Ishmael, and actually Hagar had other sons later, but the heritage, the family heritage, the family essence is going over only to Yitzchak. That's really how this week's parasha says, Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak. This is the birth of Yitzchak, ben Avraham, the son of Avraham. You might ask, it's repeating itself. This is the birth of Yitzchak, the son of Avraham. Avraham holided Yitzchak. Avraham gave birth to Yitzchak. Didn't you say just a second ago that Yitzchak is the son of Avraham Avinu? So if Yitzchak is the son, for sure Avraham gave birth to him. So the commentaries explain here that it's coming to highlight the point, Ve'ele toladot. Toladot, the birth, mean this is the main way that the essence, all the good things that by Avraham Avinu are going over to Yitzchak. The Kli Yakar explains the following. You know that in a Talmud, you could some people, you could call them son, even though that they're not really your son. Are you aware to that? That you could call somebody the son, even though he's not really the son of that man. For example, very good. A student, a rabbi that teaches Torah, so you could call his students sons. The Talmud says it, that Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching Torah to the children of Aaron, and the Torah calls him the father of his nephews. He's not the father, he's an uncle. But the Torah calls him father because he taught them Torah. Somebody that is taking care of somebody. Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was a baby, he was thrown away on the ark because the Egyptians want to kill all the Jewish babies. And who comes and saves Moshe? The daughter of Pharaoh, her name is Batya. She brings him to the palace, she's taking care of him. And the Torah says she's for him like a son. She didn't give birth to him, she's not his real son, but is called a son. So it's such a concept that in many ways things that people that are helping out, taking care, raising, teaching, you could call their students or who they're looking after son. So the higher degree is tolada. Tolada means all the heritage is going over to this one. So it's coming to highlight that the tolada is only Yitzchak. Although Ishmael is also a son, but he's not the tolada. The heritage of Avraham Avinu is not going over to Ishmael, it's going only to Yitzchak. Hashem already told Avraham Avinu earlier, before he gave birth, before he had a child from Sarah, Hashem says to him, don't worry, you'll have a child, and he will be your continuity. This is very important, because, you know, that other religions, that they believe in the Torah, and like the Islam, and they say, hey, Ishmael is also good, also holy, he also grew up in the house of Avraham Avinu, and they feel very comfortable saying that Ishmael is so great. Well, but they miss one verse. And the verse is, look at chapter 21, verse 12. Chapter 21, verse 12. Sorry, this is after the birth of Yitzchak, not before, it's after. So it says like this, when Yitzchak was born, they did circumcision, Avraham Avinu did circumcision, and Sarah didn't like that Yitzchak is hanging around with Ishmael. So she's kicking out Ishmael from the house. She was really concerned that Ishmael will have a bad influence on Yitzchak. So she sends him out. And this was a little bit hard to Avraham Avinu to do because still Ishmael was his son. So Hashem says to him like this, don't worry. Don't worry. Look at verse 12. Everybody's okay? You have it? Chaf Aleph, Yud Bet. Chapter 21, verse 12. Vayomer Elohim el Avraham. Al yira beinecha. Don't feel so bad that you're sending out Ishmael. Because like I said, he didn't feel comfortable with this whole idea, Avraham Avinu, to kick away Ishmael. So Hashem says to him, don't worry. Al el Avraham. Al yira beinecha. Shouldn't be so bad in your eyes. Al hanar, for the child. Ve'al amatecha, and your maidservant. Kol asher tomar elecha Sarah, all what Sarah tells you, shma bekola, listen to her. Why? Ki beyitzchak ikara lecha zera. This is very important, these 4 words. Ki beyitzchak, only in Yitzchak will yikare, will carry to you, will carry on, yikare, he will carry on, lecha zera. Your descendants, your heritage is going over only to Yitzchak. So right, Ishmael is also a son, but he's not carrying the heritage. He's not going to be the continuity of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu will continue only through Yitzchak. So it says it very clear over here in the chapter 21, verse 12, that only Yitzchak will be the continuity. All the heritage is going through Yitzchak. Ishmael is a son, but he's not carrying on the heritage of Avraham Avinu. He's not the continuity. Only Yitzchak. And that's what's really happening over here in verse, let's go back to Parashat Toledot, chapter 25, verse 19. Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak, this is the heritage of Yitzchak. Ben Avraham, the son of Avraham. Avraham olided Yitzchak. Avraham gave birth to Yitzchak. Yitzchak is the continuity of Avraham Avinu. Only Yitzchak, and not Ishmael. Ishmael is a son, but he's not a Toledah. He's not the one that is carrying the heritage of the great values, principles, character trait of Avraham Avinu. Yes?
I just wanted to ask you, the next one in 13, it says that Begamet ben Ana legoye.
Yes, he will be a great nation as well, yes.
It also says that it's also his offspring. So what's like, I mean, the Lashon is for Yitzchak, it says Isha lecha Sarah, and for Ishmael it says Sarah.
Yeah, right. So, meaning, again, Ishmael is a son. He'll have children also. They are descendants of Avraham Avinu, you can't deny that. But they're not carrying on the heritage of Avraham Avinu, right? By the way, there are those in Islam that say, all the story of the binding of the Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac, they say the binding of Ishmael, right? Once you do changes, you can do whatever you want. So you can make it up. So they say the binding of Ishmael, right? Not the binding of Isaac, and absolutely we say that that's a big lie. So when you see so much lies in the world, don't be surprised because it's already going on for a while. It didn't start yesterday. Okay. Before we go on, so maybe let me share with you just, it's interesting. Talking about, just want to mention to you one thing before we go on. So we saw last week that Eliezer loaded 10 camels to go and to give gifts for the family that he's looking for, right? A good match for Yitzchak, the shidduch. So he loaded with all the good of his master to go to give it to them, to the gifts, to the family, to the girl, to the brothers, to the parents, right? It says that when Lavan saw it, her brother saw all the goods, he ran, right? He couldn't believe, oh my gosh, so many gifts this man is giving. He saw the jewelry that was given to his sister. So anyways, you see, it's a very interesting idea. You have the norms, and you have to see it very clear. I told you that that's the source of shidduch when you're looking for a girl, how to look, what to do. From here you learn that the man should look for the shidduch. He has the one that puts more efforts looking for the girl. So Eliezer comes with 10 loaded camels with all the good things in the world. Yaakov Avinu later on, when he goes, unfortunately he had to run from his own brother Esav, that we're going to learn today. His brother Esav became his biggest enemy, and he wanted to kill him, and he ran away. He ends up also to the same family of Lavan, and he comes with empty hands. He got robbed on the way, and he comes with empty hands. So the Midrash says like this, that Yaakov Avinu raises his eyes and says, Esa Einai, I raised my eyes, El Harim, to the mountains, but El Harim, you could read it also, El HaHorim, to my parents. I raise my eyes and I look backwards and I see, oh my gosh, my father, Yitzchak, when he came to here, he came loaded with 10 camels. And I'm coming with empty hands? Esa Einai, I'm raising my eyes. Me'ayin yavo Ezri, how this will happen? Who will help me that this will happen? Could I make a shidduch with empty hands? I have nothing. Just myself. And what's the answer? Ezri me'im Hashem. No worries. Right? Yitzchak sent the servant Eliezer with 10 camels. And that's how it worked out then. Fine. But Ezri me'im Hashem, if Hashem wants it to happen, even with empty hands, it's all going to happen. So no worries about that you have no jewelry, no gifts to give. Ezri me'im Hashem, Hashem will take care of it, don't worry. Okay, so that's a big lesson. You do what you could do according to your situation, to your lifetime, to the situation, to what's going on, to the current. Try the best. That Yitzchak worked out a shidduch with 10 loaded camels, you could do it without that. Right? Hashem will direct you and help you without that as well. Okay, let's move on. Did I tell you guys what happened when Yitzchak is coming on a camel? Rivka is coming on a camel, and she sees far away Yitzchak. What is Yitzchak doing? Praying in the field. It says that Yitzchak went out to pray in the field, and Rivka is coming back. So she asked Eliezer, who's this? She says, well, that's your Chatan. And what happens? She falls from the camel. What happened, guys? Why did she fall from the camel? So you know the joke they say. Avraham established the prayer of Shachrit. Yitzchak, Mincha. She wasn't familiar with Mincha yet. They were coming in the late afternoon, and she saw her Chatan davening so late. Right? Mincha didn't exist yet. So she saw her Chatan davening so late, Shachrit, she fell off the camel. She didn't know that he's praying Mincha. Okay. Interesting that it says that the Avraham Avinu, like I said to you, fixed Shacharit, that's the morning, Yitzchak, Mincha, and Yaakov, Mariv. That also shows the life that they had. By Avraham Avinu, he's the master of the pillar of Chesed. Olam Chesed Iboneh, the day. He had troubles, that right, but nothing to compare to Yaakov. He had struggles for sure, Avraham Avinu. He had to go twice, look for food, travel, go around, problem with the neighbors, but no comparison to Yaakov. So, Lehagid, David HaMelech in Tehillim says, Lehagid baboker chazdecha. In the morning, when it's clear, nice, you see the kindness of Hashem. Lehagid, to say, baboker, in the morning, chazdecha, just like when it's sunrise, creation, the world is so beautiful, it's very easy to praise to God. But you have to remember, ve'emunatcha baleilot. Emunatcha, what's emunatcha? And the belief in you. You have to remember to believe, even in a time of darkness, even in a time of things that are not so clear, not so good, you have to remember to have full faith in Hashem. So you see it very clear that the Avot, each one had his niche that he was working, representing the pillar of the world. Avraham Avinu is Chesed, Yitzchak is gvura, strength. He was binded on the altar, willing to be a offering. That's the power of gvura, strength. He's not allowed to go out of Israel. The girl has to come to him. He didn't go out to look for the shidduch. Even when there will be a famine, no food, he's not leaving the land of Israel. And Yaakov Avinu is representing Tiferet Torah, complete. From Yaakov Avinu, eventually the 12 tribes comes, and the family of the Jewish people is starting. Avram had Yitzchak and Ishmael. Yitzchak has Yaakov and Esav. Till we come to the final, Yaakov, that over there, all the children of Yaakov, all the sons, are the proper family for the Jewish people, 12 tribes. So to speak, had to go filter different times and it took time till we come to the point that we could have the Jewish family from Yaakov Avinu. Okay, talking about Yitzchak and Ishmael, very interesting. So I just told you that Yitzchak is continuing the heritage of Avraham Avinu and not Ishmael. But he did carry on certain good things. He was a son. He was still a son. He was hanging around in the house of Avraham Avinu. He was still a son of Avraham Avinu. So he's not the main guy. He's not the main person. He's not the main that will continue this. But he's still a son. So the Medrash says, very interesting story, guys. This Medrash, Rabbi Yitzchak Utner said this Medrash when they're on hostage. You know, those years ago in the late 70s or the early 80s, was a terrorist organization in Lebanon that they hijacked it for a few airplanes, and they brought them over to Lebanon. One of them was an airplane from Israel that was on the way, TWA, if back in the day, if you're familiar, it was airlines called TWA. That was from Israel to America, and it was hijacked by this terrorist organization from Lebanon. I forgot the name. And Rabbi Yitzchak Utner was there on this flight. They were brought to Lebanon, they were brought to Beirut, and they were holding on to them. And while he was there, so one of the Arabs come over to him and say to him, Rabbi, they saw that he's an important man. They said, Rabbi, what I could do for you? And the rabbi says, you know what, get me a can of Pepsi Cola, but it should be really cold. He says, fine. He went and he got him a cold Pepsi Cola. So Rabbi Yitzchak Utner said to the people over there, you see, the Midrash, he bring the following Midrash. After Avraham Avinu sent away, we saw last week Parsha, all the other sons, he went to visit Ishmael. He traveled to visit Ishmael, and he came, he wasn't home, Ishmael. And his wife was not nice to Avraham Avinu. She didn't offer anything, she didn't do hospitality. So Avraham Avinu left a message with the wife that wasn't exactly great. She said, tell Ishmael that I was here, I visited, and he should change the doorway. That was a hint that he should get rid of her and get a new wife because she's not behaving right. He came back, Avraham Avinu, and he saw that, and he had a second wife, and she did hospitality. So Yitzchak Utner said that if you bump into, so to speak, good Arab, you could assume that it's from the second wife, not from the first wife. So he said the Arab that gave him the can of Coca-Cola is probably from the second wife. Okay, let's go on. Okay, Pasuk Chaf. Vayehi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. Yitzchak was 40 years old. Bekachto, when he took et Rivka bat Betuel, the daughter of Betuel, Ha'arami, the daughter of Betuel Arami, mi Padan Aram, from Padan Aram, that's the other side of the river. That's the family of Avraham Avinu. Mipadan Aram, Achot Lavan, she's the sister of Lavan Arami. Lo leisha. So Yitzchak, he was, right, 40 years old when he got married to Rivka. According to the Midrash, he was very young. How old she is?
Yitzchak?
No, Yitzchak is 40. It says here clear. Yitzchak is 40. How old was Rivka?
3 years old.
Right. So there are a few midrashim. Is it 3 years old or 14? However, right, it has to be that she was mature. Remember, where did Eliezer meet her? In the well. She was taking the sheep to go to drink. She went and draw water and he was giving to everybody to drink. So it has to be that she was mature. Whatever the age is, she has to be mature. Is it 3 or 14? She has to be mature. Rashi points out, okay, so that's the age. Rashi points out, the Torah repeats here again, she's the daughter of Betuel and the sister of Lavan. Don't we know that already? So in last week's parasha is probably mentioned 10 times at least, right? Betuel and Lavan appear many times last week. He brought Eliezer to the house, they gave him to eat, and they sat, and they talked, and they this, and they that. So it's already mentioned many times, these two guys, Betuel, the father, and Lavan, the brother, are mentioned many times. So why is it repeated over here? So Rashi says that to highlight again the idea how great was Rivka, that even though her father was not the great man, wasn't so righteous, Lavan is not righteous at all. We'll know more about Lavan later on. So even though she didn't have such a great tzaddik father and not such a great tzaddik brother, she did not learn from them and she was great. She was not influenced, not by her father and not by her brother.
Wasn't Rivka influenced by Laban, like externally? Like, according to Midrash?
She was influenced by him by what?
Well, like external features, that he outwardly he appeared as a good person.
I didn't. Could be that it could be different midrashim, but it could be that different midrashim. But Rashi over here, that's what Rashi explained, that even though they were wicked, she did not learn from them. Okay, let's go on. Chaf Aleph, guys. Let's move on. So he married her. You saw last week, guys. What happens when Yitzchak brings in Rivka to the tent? What happens?
The cloud comes back.
Right. So, right? Remember Benji from last week? Yeah. You good? Remember what it says? Yitzchak brings in Rivka into the tent and he loves her. And the Rashi brings over there that all the miracles that were happening in the tent of Sarah came back. It was a cloud above the tent. The candle stayed lit from Shabbat to Shabbat, and it was always a blessing in the dough. That's why it says over there, Vayava Yitzchak. He loved her because he understood now, Baruch Hashem, Eliezer found a great girl, the beautiful great girl. She's exactly replacing my mother. If you remember last week we said that the Torah says the birth of Rivka and right after the death of Sarah. What is the idea? First Hashem takes care that somebody will replace the tzaddiket that will pass away, and then the tzaddiket could pass away. You need the sunrise and then after the sunset. And that was the sign to Yitzchak, oh my gosh, Baruch Hashem, I got the right shidduch. Here's Rivka. All those signs are coming back. And that's why he loved her, not only because he loved her, she loved her also that he had the sign that she's replacing all those great miracles that were taking place in the tent of Sarai Meinu. Okay, guys, let's go on. Pasuk Chaf Aleph. What happens here? Vaye'etar Yitzchak Lashem. Vaye'etar. He's praying very hard. Is one of the, if you look at Rashi, Vaye'etar hirba vehiftzir batfilah. When one is praying a lot, you use the word Vaye'etar. In a minute also, I'll tell you what is this. Vayetar is one of the words, one of the languages of tefillah. There are a few ways that you could write davening in Hebrew. Tefillah, tachanun, bakasha, a lot of ways that you could do that. And over here it says Vayetar means he did it a lot and really begging for it, really begging for it. So what says here? Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem, Yitzchak was praying to Hashem, lenochach ishto, across his wife, for his wife, ki akarahi. What is Rivka at this point? Barren. She doesn't have children. Vayetar lo, and Hashem listened to him, vatar Rivka ishto, and she became pregnant. Now, the Rabbeinu Bachai points here a beautiful idea, guys. You see, the Torah says Yitzchak prayed because his wife was barren, she didn't have children, and Hashem answered him. The Rabbeinu Bachai says it seems to be the verse is out of order. First told me what is the problem. Told me Yitzchak and Rivka are living for a while. They don't have children. She is barren. So now Yitzchak goes and prays. First told me the problem. Told me the story. Told me what happened. Oh, they're married. They don't have children. So then Yitzchak goes to pray. But what does say in the Torah? The other way around. Yitzchak went to pray because his wife didn't have children. She was barren. Seems to be out of order. You get it? You okay? We good? Yeah. Okay. So says the Rabbeinu Bachai, a fundamental idea, and it's written in Chazal in a few places, and the idea is the following. It's such an idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a great desire for the prayer of the tzaddikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitaveh, has a great desire for the prayer of the tzaddikim. Says the Rabbeinu Bachai, based on this idea, here you go. It's not, if it were written the other way around, if it was written in the Torah, Rivka is waiting for children. They don't have children. They're desperate. So Yitzchak goes to the Kotel to pray, right? If it was written that way, you wouldn't get the message. The message is the other way around. Hashem wants the prayer of the tzaddikim. Hashem is waiting for the prayer of the tzaddikim. He has that great desire. He loves those prayer of the tzaddikim. He can't wait for the prayer of the tzaddikim. So what does he do? He makes them burn. The matriarchs, many of them were burned. So it's the other way around. The real reason that they are barren is because Hashem is waiting for the tefillot. That's a tool that will bring them to daven. So meaning the davening is not to solve a problem. You hear the idea? It's not I have a problem, okay, let me go pray. It's the other way around. Hashem wants and has a great desire for these davening, for these prayers of the tzaddikim and tzaddikot. So he puts on them this idea, so they are barren, and that will bring them even more to pray more, to beg more, and to come closer to Hashem. So that's why it goes very good, guys. Vayetar Yitzchak Lashem. The main thing is what you're learning here is Yitzchak is praying. Why is he praying? Okay, his wife doesn't have children. But his wife doesn't have children is only results of a great desire of Hashem, that Hashem is waiting for the prayers. That's the main reason. The reason is, the main thing that it's happening is that Hashem is waiting for the prayer of the tzaddikim. Okay, how you do that? One of the ways, you make them barren, the matriarchs, and they'll pray. That's why the first thing in order is that Yitzchak is praying. That's the main thing. Through that will come and he'll pray, he'll ask, and Hashem will answer him. But that's the idea that Hashem is always waiting, has a great desire for the prayers of the tzaddikim. Why is that? Why is that? Why Hashem has this great love, desire for the prayers of the tzaddikim? Why is that? Any idea?
Because righteous people are closer to God, and God has to
So,
people closest to him.
so the answer is the relationship. Hashem has the great desire to the prayer of the tzaddikim because He wants this relationship with the tzaddikim. He wants them the whole time to feel connected to him, dependent on him. If I think I mentioned this once, right? When you'll have a child, B'ezrat Hashem, there are two ways you could tell him, okay, take the credit card and use it, and you don't have to tell me who, how, what. Just call me once in 2 months, and that's it. Or you could tell him, hey, I want to hear you. I want to hear how things are going on. What are you doing? Try to call me every second day, and such. The more that you love something, you want the relationship. And that's exactly the idea. Hashem wants the tzaddikim to be dependent on him, to ask, because he wants that relationship. And that's a big idea, that what the power of tefillah. Because Hashem wants that relationship. Hashem wants the tzaddikim to daven, and he'll cause certain things in the world to happen, not for that reason. The real reason is because he wants us to pray. So in times of challenges, in times of darkness, in times of issues, the idea is this is a wake-up call to pray. That's exactly what's going on in our days. It's a wake-up call to pray. Rivka is not barren because she's barren. Rivka is barren because Hashem wants the prayer of Yitzchak and Rivka to pray. That's always the idea. When Hashem brings a problem, he's always waiting for the tefillah. It's a tool to bring us closer to Hashem. This idea you find in the very, very beginning of Bereshit. Let me just show you one verse. So it says, every day was created, right? What was created in every day. And then it says like this. Look at the chapter 2, verse 5. Going back to Bereshit. Going back to Bereshit. We're good? This is talking after creation. So it says over here, this is what God created, heaven, earth. Look at verse 5. V'kol siach hasadeh, all the bushes, trees in the field, terem yeh ba'aretz, was in the land. V'kol esev hasadeh terem yitzmach. So they were planted, but they were not growing. So all the plants that Hashem planted and put in place, they didn't grow. Why they didn't grow? Ki lo himtir Hashem, Hashem did not bring rain. Elokim al haaretz, Hashem did not bring rain. Ve'adam, man, ayin, is no man, la'avod, to work the land. Look at this verse. It says that all the trees, the bushes were there in place. They didn't grow because there was no rain. And there was no man to work the land. Says Rashi, there was no man to appreciate and understand that in order that these things should grow, you need rain. There was no man around. Before Friday, there was no man around. So there was no man to understand, to recognize the need of rain, to ask for the rain to come down, and these things will grow. So this is a source, and this is idea from the very beginning. Only after man is created on Friday, and he understands in order to this to grow, we need rain. He's going to ask for the rain, and the rain will come. That's how the system works. Hashem says, you want something, you got to ask for it. You got to appreciate, understand what you have. Somebody has to appreciate and understand what you have, and you have to ask it, and then B'ezrat Hashem, if you deserve it, you get it. Chazak u'baruch, guys. Shavua tov u'mevorach. We should have only good news.